if the insurance company was like, if you didn't do something right, they weren't gonna pay for it or something like that?
Yeah, so the requirements to this BiPAP machine is that you comply, and that means the amount of time that you spend
Uh,
wearing the mask and using the mask. And I think what they said was that for the first 3 months, for at least 1 month,
yeah,
you have to get 4 hours. You have to use it 4 hours a day for
yeah,
70% of the days. So I don't know how strict they are with that,
yeah.
but the guy said today on the phone that I'm doing a good job.
Cool.
So
And what about, I want to talk a little bit about, uh, do you think like through your life, have you seen like being disabled, and you said you have schizoaffective disorder? Do you think,
yeah,
has it, have you been, did kids bully you because of that, or your mental health, or?
yeah, I got bullied. I got bullied when I was a kid. You know,
That
uh,
sucks. Yeah.
yeah, but it wasn't that bad. It's not as bad as some people who commit suicide over bullying. You hear
Yeah.
about that in the news, like some gay kid or even
Yeah.
just someone who's not gay
Yeah.
gets bullied
Yeah.
and they end up committing suicide.
That's fucked up, you know. That's really fucked up.
Yeah,
And a lot of people are transgender now, and
yeah, yeah.
kids are like, and I think it's so sad. Our, you know, kids, I don't know why they always want to, it's like this, they want to, why do you think kids bully each other?
I think I bullied people, and I didn't think it was bullying at the time. I just thought it was being funny, but it's
Yeah.
not funny,
Yeah.
and it's not funny to even just to make fun of someone.
Yeah.
Not funny, and especially when you're kids and you're impressionable.
Yeah.
Why it's a serious thing that schools have to look at more on how to combat bullying.
Yeah, I've
Uh,
seen these like non-bully zones, and the kids can run to
yeah,
this place where they have like these people, and I see a lot of, you know, I noticed because a lot of kids that don't have like a fatherly role or a motherly role, they
yeah,
look for that in their peer group.
right.
And you know, I was listening to, like, you know, musicians like, uh who's the guy, uh, uh was it, I don't know, Kurt Cobain, or I mean, these people don't have strong fathers or mothers,
Right.
and they end up looking for their peer group, and then I think they're chasing after, like, they're looking for their dad and some bully or something like that. And at least I was like, you know, I mean, I love my dad, but because of circumstances I didn't get to see my dad that much.
Right.
And I love him to death, you know, he's a great guy, but because divorce happens, and I think a lot of kids are just traumatized. And
So do you get bullied?
I got bullied. Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. When I went to Washington D.C., right? The only time I ever got bullied, right? They put me in this. So I'm in D.C. You know, my dad's from Israel, right? He puts me in this all Jewish school. Every single person was Jewish, except, I mean, I was Jewish too, right? And I was in the honors program, which is like the worst place to be because they were so mean.
Yeah.
It was called the Jewish Day School, and the last day of school, I think, it's funny. Our teachers, like, we wanted Judas Priest had just, it was like the 80s, you know. Well, I mean, uh, Judas Priest had come out with an album, and we went to go see Judas Priest, right?
Right.
And the day, I think it was the day before I started hanging out with the people that weren't these were the drug addicts. You have the bullies, which were the, you know, the rich kids or whatever, and then you had the drug addicts over there, and those were the cool people back then.
Yeah.
So they were doing drugs, and it was, dude, it was like the rich kids, they don't have to be Jewish, whatever, every single person, their parents were either a doctor or a lawyer. I'm not kidding. And it was horrible, man. It was horrible because I came from Los Angeles, where, you know, a family of, like, you know, like, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, you know, we had like nothing, and it was really hard on us, man. It was really hard. And That's the only time I was ever really bullied. But I'll never forget. I'll never forget it, man. How can you ever forget it? It's a nightmare, you know. And it made me feel like suicidal and stuff. And like, I can see why kids, like, your peer group is the most important thing that there is, you know, at that age. And it's like impressionable. And